Men Behind the Curtain was filmed in front of a live, non existent audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome again to another edition of Men Behind the Curtain, the podcast about everything and nothing all at once. I am Pitt.
I'm Eli. So, not a whole. Well, I shouldn't say not a whole lot about this week. We did have the vice presidential debate.
Yes.
Which, honestly, this was kind of refreshing because it was boring. Like, I kind of miss when politics were boring because I'm really tired of the shit show that's been the last 8 years, almost 10 years.
Well, I mean, what do you expect when you have two white dudes from Minnesota and Ohio? It's bound to be boring.
Although, actually, as a side note, did you see the video where Haley Joel Osment, for those of y'all who don't remember the name, it's a kid from The Sixth Sense.
He sees dead people.
Did you see the video where he's impersonating JD Vance?
No. Oh, wait. Is that where it's like where was that the SNL one?
I don't think it was SNL. It was a sketch like that. Like, he tries to walk into a donut shop. He fucking goes up to the display case and punches the fucking thing open and grabs a donut. And he acts like he got a prize. It's fucking hilarious. It's also a little bit weird because Haley Joel Osment actually looks a fair amount like JD Vance.
Well, if I put that much eyeliner on, I'd probably look like him too. Either that or Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, which I think I would rather look like anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I sure wouldn't mind the money he's got. I'll say that much.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. Catastrophe. The word association phrase. Still got a lot of stuff in here. Again, if you want us to associate something, leave us a comment. Send us an email. menbehindcurtain@gmail.com.
Yep.
Or leave it in the comments. Or don't. Continue to do it anyway. All right. Ooh. Since we're on politics, America's healthcare system.
Fucked. I actually saw a really, really good bit. So I know Adam Conover is a little bit disgraced at the moment. I think he said some either homophobic or transphobic comments. I don't think he meant it to be bad, but it's still like it got him in hot water. But anyway, he did a segment a while back. He was talking about the healthcare system, and I'm not going to delve into it. He did the whole fucking episode, but it's a really good episode, and I recommend checking that out. It was Adam Ruins Everything. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is.
I've seen Adam Ruins Everything several places. I can't remember if he has a TikTok, but I do know he still has the YouTube going on and stuff like that. And I just honestly, he always puts stuff in a whole new light, and it's entertaining, but also for the most part factual.
What I really appreciated about his show is that he cites his sources. So as he's talking, he'll actually have little blurbs come up across the screen to say where he's getting this information from. He even did an episode where he was fact checking his own show. Like, hey, we did this. We got that wrong. Like, I respect the transparency.
Yeah.
But yeah, the healthcare system is absolutely fucked. I will die on this hill that healthcare is one thing that nobody should profit off of because you can't fucking help getting sick. You just can't. Yeah, they literally make up their own prices for shit.
Yeah. Capping insulin, especially with me being diabetic, having it $35, it's life-saving, and it doesn't break the bank in the process. But as far as America's health system goes, we're paying into Social Security every single paycheck. And we already know that's a broken system. So I don't see why we can't come up with a system that every American pays into, something like a Social Security fund or whatnot, but also covers, generalized healthcare.
Yeah.
I think several other nations around the world do things of a similar sort. Our healthcare system is not one of the only things that are lacking and falling behind in this country, behind other nations. We can go into education. We can go on a few other things, satisfactory living, things of that nature. But since we're on healthcare, maybe it's time we take a page from somebody else. It's working everywhere else, and there's no issues. I have friends in, the UK, Scotland, South Africa, Norway, pretty much all over. And they're still wondering how Americans could fall into financial ruin over basic medical,
Well,
practices.
I mean, about that, you are aware why we don't have universal health care, right? Like, because FDR wanted to put it in his New Deal back in the 40s. You know why it didn't happen, right?
Yep, let's let the viewers know.
Yeah. They thought that if people of my ilk or darker did not have health insurance, that we would die out within about 2 to 3 generations. 100% true.
And as you can see, Eli doesn't know if he's black or white today, according to his background. So, if you're going to the polls, you're a white man.
I know that if I get pulled over by the cops, that I'm black. Because the last time I get a speeding ticket, that's what they put on there. Which I wasn't offended, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm surprised that they definitively picked that one because I usually get anything else.
Puerto Rican usually.
I get that one. I get Samoan, or I think maybe the correct pronunciation is Samoan. I've gotten Hawaiian. I've gotten Dominican. I've gotten all of those things, except for what I actually fucking am.
You know what you should do? You should just go into a place when they refuse you service. You're just like, but I'm white.
I mean, I could have that little mini meltdown like Roseanne did, like when she was like, I thought that bitch was white. Which, oh God, that was honestly the most entertaining thing about her little spiral there.
Well, that's the only thing entertaining about her is her spirals. I mean, I could go with the stereotypical, white person, and I know your last name. It's not a black last name. It's not Smith or Johnson or, Higgins or Chase. Or
Yeah.
I'm naming off football players now because I just ran out of generic last names. The Southern folk last names.
But yeah, it's pretty fucked up. That's why we don't have universal health care. And this is exactly why, because you mentioned at the beginning of that, because we were talking politics, this is why I don't identify as a Democrat. I do think that I'm more liberal and more left-leaning, but I'm much further left than Democrats because I don't see why that's not a universal thing.
No. And honestly, and the majority of Americans agree that healthcare, affordable healthcare even, is a right. It should be a right, not something that we have to buy into or be penalized if we don't have it, which if you don't have it, it means you can't afford it. So I don't see why they're penalizing people who don't have the money to do it. But again, here we go back to the fact that, we were talking about difference in skin color and stuff like that. And a lot of that has to do with it. So, all right, we're going to move on because we can probably get on that soapbox for hours.
Yeah. Oh, just one last thing I'm going to point out about that. Having worked in healthcare, I currently work at an insurance company. I have seen providers' claims come in. I know what they charge and I know what they get paid. The reason a lot of y'all think that it's too expensive is because you don't see what it actually costs. You just see what it looks like on your bill.
Yep. Oh, it's a long one.
I feel like when it's long, it's because you pissed someone off and they're just elaborating.
Okay. It's first thing you do every day besides wake up or opening your eyes, fucking smart asses.
First thing I do every day, I mean, other than just the usual, like having to climb my ass up out of bed. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could point out that I do my usual stuff, brushing my teeth and all that shit, and I have fucking skincare routine. I have like moisturizer and shit that I put on.
He's ashy.
Actually, my elbows usually are, which is really fucked up. But yeah, I mean, other than that, as far as what I do in the morning, it depends on if I'm working that day or not. Because if I'm working, then that means I have to do shit in a hurry, and I'm usually grabbing whatever I can grab to eat quickly, like granola bar or some shit.
First thing I do, I roll over, try not to break my dick. It's usually still pretty hard. No, first thing I do is I take a piss. It's the first thing I do, without doing all the other small things. Opening your eyes and getting out of bed and walking to the bathroom. But bathroom, brush teeth, shower, shave if needed, dry off, clothing if I need it. Then I go downstairs and make a fucking pot of coffee.
Yeah.
I'm not functioning without it.
Honestly, I envy you because caffeine does not work on me.
Well, when you get to my age, it really doesn't work either. So it becomes more of a habit.
Yeah. And we're getting to that time of year where it's just nice to have a warm drink in the morning. Although, god damn it, I wish the fucking weather would cool down.
Yeah, I wore the wrong pants today. It is too fucking hot for what I have on.
I thought I was done cutting the grass. But also, by the way, again, we mentioned this last week. If there's anybody still dealing with the fallout from the hurricane, I hope that you're doing better. I hope things get better. I also heard that there's another one headed towards Tampa right now, so I hope y'all stay safe. But the amount of rain that we got from that, I think, is why I had to cut my grass.
My grass is green again. That's at least what I got out of it.
Parts of my grass are green.
Well, where the dogs are going to the bathroom are not green. I think they have acidic piss. It's everything where they go, it's brown. So
That's fair.
all right. Favorite meal? Eli's wife.
Again, like we mentioned before, like with snacks, that's not a bad answer. I'm not going to disagree with that. But like actual meal that I have to digest, probably chicken parm.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have never thought chicken parm with you.
Yeah, like we don't make it very often, and I think it may be because we don't think about it. But chicken parm is actually really good. Although I think a more common one that we used to make all the time is just homemade chicken quesadillas. It's fucking easy as hell.
Yeah. Let's see. If I'm cooking, candied bacon or candied pork belly. I don't know. I mean, it all depends. I mean, I love steak. I love ribs. I love wings. I will fuck for wings. So, yeah. I'd probably say anything barbecued, to be honest, or thrown in a smoker. That's probably my favorite. But, if we're going out to eat something like, Chinese, I could always get down with Chinese or Mediterranean. So, yeah, I think that would be my favorites. If you got a favorite meal, let us know what it is. If you have a favorite disliked meal, let us know too. Because I will not eat molested cucumbers.
Oh God, I hope a few of my friends see this, Morgan and Renee, because they'll love that so fucking much. Although I will say, because you mentioned anything barbecue, that's another reason I'm really waiting for the weather to cool down. Because God damn it, I want to use my grill, but I don't want to fucking fry out there while I'm doing it.
Oh, I know that feeling. Grill and a smoker going at the same time, middle of fucking July.
I don't know if I told you about this or not, but so at our last house, there was a few things the previous tenants had left. One of them was this big ass circular grill. So when we bought this place, I took that grill with me. So now I have two grills. The whole reason why I kept the big circular one is because I want to grill a fucking pizza. That sounds really fucking good.
Well, you can buy those outdoor pizza ovens now.
Yeah, but I got this for free.
All right. And the last one, and these could probably get us into a lot of legal ramifications. Best prank you've ever pulled.
I might have told you the story before. The first one that really comes to mind. So a friend of mine, James, so I used to work in the kitchen. When I was at the kitchen, I worked pretty much almost every single job. And my last year and a half there before he had to close his doors, I was a prep cook. So I'm back in the kitchen. Now, my friend James, he's got a BlackBerry. That right there tells you how old this was. So he had a BlackBerry. This was like one of the first gen Bluetooth earpieces. And he goes into the walk-in freezer, but he's got his BlackBerry in. I pick up his phone because he didn't lock it, which I don't even know if locking it was a common thing back then.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, I pick up his phone and I dial a fucking sex hotline. And I know while he's in the fucking walk-in freezer that I know he just hears this, "Hey, big boy." So when he comes out, I was trying my hardest to keep my composure because I didn't want him to know who did that. But he just came out with this look on his face, and I just fucking lost it. As soon as he walked out and I saw his face, I fucking died laughing. His only response, that better not cost me money.
So I used to work in radio, and I was doing the overnights. And you may have heard this before. So there was a sales rep, and I'm going to leave his name out of this just because I don't want any backlash. So there's a sales rep that would come in roughly about 6 o'clock every single morning. Great guy. He and I got along just great. We play small pranks on each other left and right. But one of the things I would do for people coming in to start them, their morning shows and stuff like that coming in, I'd make the coffee. And then I had the bright idea to actually put X-Lax in the coffee. And then I cellophane the toilet seats in the men's restroom. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yep. Our salesman comes in like clockwork. First thing he does, went to get a big cup of coffee. Goes to his desk, sits down, sipping his coffee, looking away, looking at his clients and stuff like that. I'm in the studio about getting ready to finish up. And all I hear is, "Jesus Christ, oh my God. And I just watch him run down the hall towards the bathroom. Not sure if he made it in time because I decided to get the fuck out of there. So that's probably the best. Other than telling my sister she was adopted, that's the best prank I've ever pulled.
I feel like that's a given. Like anytime that there's siblings, somebody tells that lie that somebody was adopted at some point.
Well, I even wrote her a song. It's like, we adopted you.
Was it anywhere as good as the Simpsons? At least it's your birthday. Was it anywhere as good as that?
I don't think it was that good. I came up with that when I was like 7 or 8. She was like 2 or 3 at the time. So,
off topic. Did you hear? I think Michael Jackson actually did voice for that episode.
Yeah, actually, yes, I do believe so. Yeah,
that was fucking wild.
Yeah.
Although the coffee reminds me, I don't even remember who told this story. I don't even think that I was like actively part of the conversation. I'm just listening to it. But he's telling the story like when he was in the military. He worked night shift, and they always made a pot of coffee for the day shift when they came in. One day they forgot to. I don't know if they got too busy or what. And the staff sergeant, whoever was the ranking officer, was bitching at them for not making the coffee. So the next day, they made the coffee. Then they took the brewed coffee, poured it back into the fucking machine. And they did this, like, I think he said literally like 20 fucking times.
Oh my God. It's like fucking tar.
But staff sergeant, or whatever his title was, because I don't want to get it wrong, did not say a word. And also never said a fucking word again.
Oh, wow. All right, so that has been our word association. If you got anything you'd like us to do, leave it in the comments. Send us an email. Again, that email is menbehindcurtain@gmail.com.
Yeah. So I guess one thing we can go ahead and jump into. So, this week was the finale for the Rings of Power season 2.
Yeah.
And he mentioned before that there was talk about it canceling before season 3. If it cancels before season 3, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
All I got to say is if they cancel it before season 3, Amazon, you just wasted a shit ton of fucking money.
So, fuck it. We're just going to go ahead and dive right in. This is just going to be spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to, this is your nod now. I'm sure we'll get back to something else later in the episode.
Oh, of course.
So I was half right. I was right about the Balrog for the season 2 finale, but I did not expect it. First off, I didn't think it was going to be the opening scene. Second of all, I thought he was going to wreck all of Khazad-dûm, not just kill Durin. Because at the end of the episode, he's like, Khazad-dûm's still strong, or whatever the fuck he said. Like, I thought that was going to be the end of it. So I'm a little surprised about that. It was really cool to see him wake up. And he used the same fucking whip that he used on Gandalf. Speaking of Gandalf, I don't like how they came up with his name. That was dumb.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's start with the Balrog. It's cool to see him. That was really interesting. Always great to see Balrog. Disappointed in the exchange between the king and the Balrog. I was hoping to get more of a battle, not him jumping off the cliff, which he clearly lands. If you look at the angle from what they did, clearly lands about 50 yards fucking short.
Well, but the thing is that he took the ring off before he started fighting. So he does not have the Dwarven Ring of Power.
Right.
And so he's just a regular ass dwarf against a fucking Balrog. And for y'all who don't know this, Balrog are corrupted Maiar. Maiar is the same thing that Gandalf and Sauron are. And to put it in layman's terms, it's essentially like a lower tier angel. That's what the Maiar are. Durin had no fucking shot against this dude.
Well, he is a dwarf with an axe, and dwarves are very prideful. So, but let's delve into the Gandalf debacle. I love the actor who plays him. I really do. I think he's a great actor. I think he's nailing the part, coming down and not really having a clue who he is and stuff like that. But I think that portion of the story has just drug on to a point where it's like, I'm no longer interested. Just give him a fucking name and let him do some cool ass wizard shit.
Yeah. What I liked about his story in season 1 is that it helps to explain why Gandalf has this inexplicable affection for hobbits that nobody really can understand. And now and if we're just going to assume this is canon, which yes, I know this is not in Tolkien's Legendarium, I'm just going to go with it as it is. If we're going to take this as canon, then it explains why he's so affectionate with the hobbits.
Gandalf likes the big hairy feet.
Ooh, shit. Oh god, I wasn't expecting that one. So in season 1, the fake out, how they told us at first that he was actually Sauron the whole time, that was a really good twist. Like that had me going for a minute. Although the only reason that I was going is because I forgot that Halbrand was a name that Sauron used. Had I remembered that detail, that fake out would have never got me. Speaking of Sauron, this is actually my only real complaint about it. They're not handling him properly. And what I mean when I say that is what he is. As I said, he is a Maiar. He is an eternal being. And Galadriel kind of whooped his ass a little bit. Like, she didn't win the fight, but Sauron should have broke both feet off in her ass. And we're talking about he's not weakened. He's not peak Sauron because he doesn't have the One Ring yet, but he's strong as fuck. Like the way that he can shapeshift and stuff like that. This is near peak Sauron. She should have had no shot.
No. And then we can move on to Numenor.
So I'm kind of okay with how it's playing out because now they're criminalizing the faithful, which was the real name for Isildur and Elendil and their followers. I guess it makes sense because at the drowning of Numenor, the faithful survive, and them being cast out and criminalized in Numenor does help to explain why they survived. So this is another tweak to the timeline, but it's a tweak I'm okay with. But now, if we get season 3, there's 3 more things that we need to see. We need to see the Balrog again, because as of right now, if you're a casual viewer, you have seen Lord of the Rings, you have seen Moria, which is with the name that they called it post Balrog. And I think Moria was like, it was supposed to interpret like in mourning or some shit like that. So if you're a TV fan, you've seen Moria and you have now seen Khazad-dûm at its greatest. They have to bridge that gap. They have to show the Balrog destroying Khazad-dûm. They have to do that. So that's one. Number 2, it's called the Rings of Power. The 9 are now made, but not the 1. We have to see that. Which actually brings up something else that I want to talk about that did piss me off a little bit. But moving on. Sauron, once again, has to go to Numenor. And he has to do that for 2 reasons. The first reason is he has to give the rings to the men. Alfarazon, for one. And I don't think Alfarazon is supposed to be the Witch King, like in Tolkien's lore. But you know what? I talked about it before. I'm cool with it. It makes sense. Sauron has to deliver the rings to Numenor. And Sauron is almost solely responsible for the drowning of Numenor. So that's 3 things that we have to see. I'm also pissed what they did with Adar.
Yeah.
Adar, they killed him off. So Adar's only purpose in this entire fucking show was to confuse you at first and make you think he could be Sauron. And then just, I don't know, a mini boss. Like, he didn't do anything. So yeah, Adar ended up being a pointless fucking character.
No, I'm just glad he got more screen time playing Adar than he did as Benjen Stark.
That's why I recognize him, son of a bitch. Yep. Okay. I couldn't fucking place him, but yep, that's what it was. So, yeah, Benjen Stark was a good character. It's not that Adar was a bad character. It's that Adar was an underutilized character, and they could have done a lot more with him. Which also, and I'm kind of reiterating my point here. Like I said, Sauron is a Maiar, but if I'm watching this from the perspective of just a TV movies fan, he looks like just a really fucking powerful elf. That's all they're really presenting him to be. And that's part of where I'm a little pissed off with how they're handling the character. The actor Charlie Vickers, no, I have no complaints. He's doing great. It's just the writing is a little lazy for him.
I mean, I sadly side with him on some of his, views, thoughts, and expressions. He just wanted him and the orc to be pretty much equal to the elves.
So this actually one thing that they are doing very much right about him is that Morgoth, who is Sauron's Dark Lord, he was the Dark Lord before Sauron, and Melkor, was he a Valar? What was he?
I think he was a Valar.
Yeah. So we'll put it in perspective. Actually, Melkor essentially is their Lucifer. He was a Valar, which I think is more. We'll compare that to an archangel. And back then, he was Melkor. He was Melkor, and his name changed to Morgoth. As Melkor, when they sang the world into being, Melkor fucked it up. He put in his own melody. This is actually how they describe it, and it caused corruption in the world. So he essentially rebelled, and they eventually got him taken down, yada yada, etc. And also, he's the one who created orcs by torturing elves. Basically, what Saruman said in the Fellowship of the Ring
Oh, with the Uruk-hai.
Yeah. Like the story that Saruman is telling is Morgoth's story, how the orcs came to be. But anyway, where I was going with that. So Morgoth, his goal for Middle Earth or Arda is just domination. Just straight up domination. I want to make this my realm. Sauron, when he says that he wants to heal Middle Earth, he actually does mean that. He just doesn't mean it in the way you or I would think of it, but in his way, that is what he's trying to do. He thinks that his ruling is what will bring peace. He doesn't see the subjugation. It's 100% subjugation, but his end goal. So they actually did get that part right about him.
Yeah. So season 3 needed. I don't give a shit if it's 6 fucking episodes, and you know me about my episodes. Speaking of episodes, we just had another episode of Agatha All Along, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I've got the down, down, down the road, down the witch's road.
I actually still haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to start here in the next couple of days.
You need to. There's only 5 episodes left. Finally, more than 8.
I know that in the trailer, once again, they mentioned Wanda Maximoff, which I am still of the opinion you cannot convince me that she's actually dead. I am aware that Marvel's official timeline says that she died, but I don't believe that she did. And the reason I don't believe it, and a lot of people have pointed this out, in Multiverse of Madness, when she brings down Wundagore, which is a weird fucking word, but anyway, there's a red flash. And I'm pretty sure that she teleported right there. So, no, I don't think she's dead. I think she's hiding.
I don't think she's dead either. There's a few spoilers and hidden, gems throughout the episodes. We can take the teen. He's already got a hex on him. Can't say his name. Can't say anything about where he's from. Stuff like that. We know he's 16. We also know that the twins. For Wanda, her kids were actually 13 at the time of, the very final episode of WandaVision. And Agatha All Along takes place 3 years after the fact. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Agatha wears a pendant around her neck, which is the mother, daughter, and crone, which is also very prominent in the Witch's Road song and within Wiccan lore. So one of the things is when you watch the first episode and we get the one witch, she writes down names of witches who can be part of this coven. And she writes down 4 names and 1 symbol. Now, there is speculation that teen is not quite possibly Wanda's child, who is Wiccan in the Marvel universe, but could possibly be this character known as Blackheart.
Isn't that Mephisto's son?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was also the villain in Ghost Rider, I think.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage.
And it gets even more interesting because now it's being speculated that Aubrey Plaza's character is Mephisto.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Also, Legion is actually part of what made me like Aubrey Plaza. I've seen her in a couple of things. I actually didn't really sit down and watch Community like regularly, but
it was Parks and Rec.
Fuck yeah, sorry. I can see how people like her character in Parks and Rec, like her deadpan sarcasm and everything. I do kind of like that. I just didn't watch enough of Parks and Rec to really get attached to her character or her as an actress. But I understand. But her in Legion, where she plays the Shadow King, that made me like Aubrey Plaza. So her as Mephisto, I'm perfectly cool with that. And also, just as a side note, those of y'all who remember, what show was it? She-Hulk. So it was in She-Hulk. The little college girl, party girl, or whatever, who was hanging out with Wong. Yeah. Was it Matt? No. what the fuck was her name?
I don't remember her name. I want to say. Oh
I almost said Madeline, but I don't think that's right.
no, I can't remember her name. I'll have to Google it.
I remember she kept going like, it's too wise, but not where you think, or some weird shit like that. She described Mephisto, and a lot of people did not catch it. Because she mentioned, like, when I think it was when she was in court, she was playing a witness. She mentions like a either dark and or fiery realm, I forget what it was, or something like that, which kind of sort of sounds a little bit like hell. And she mentions to do with goat legs. Now, y'all can go ahead and tell me who the fuck in any kind of religious lore has goat legs.
Goats.
I mean that too. But they use that a lot with the devil, and Mephisto literally rules hell. I think that she met Mephisto, so he does exist in the Marvel universe already, at least as far as I'm concerned. He does. Aubrey Plaza, we have seen her play a diabolical fucking villain as Shadow King. Those of y'all who don't know, Shadow King is a motherfucker. I actually just watched the X-Men episode where he tried to the animated series when he actually tried to lock Xavier into the astral plane.
Oh my god.
I've been rewatching the original series because I still haven't watched X-Men 97, and the reason I haven't watched it is because I don't remember a lot of the original run, so I'm watching it to catch up, and then I'll dive into 97. But Shadow King is a fucking problem. But my point being, she played Shadow King very, very well. So her as Mephisto, I'm all good with that. It probably won't be his quote-unquote permanent form. Well, actually, it could be. Elizabeth Hurley did it in fuck movie was that with Brendan Fraser?
Bedazzled.
I thought that was it, but I thought I got it wrong. Yeah. So devil could be a woman.
Have you met women?
I plead the fifth.
He's never met a woman. Help him out. His address is.
I mean, hey, we do put all our socials on here. I'm not hard to find.
No. I mean, I literally live 2.5 miles down the street from where we're broadcasting from. So,
I'm trying to but yeah, I'm definitely going to watch Agatha all along. I just haven't yet. It's honestly, it's a show that has more my curiosity than my actual interest. And I said the same thing about Penguin, and I still feel that about Penguin. I haven't watched it yet. I just haven't.
I'm trying to get up the nerve to watch it. I'm just not interested. It's the Penguin.
Yeah. Well, again, the Penguin has a good story, and especially, but again, I think we talked about this an episode or two ago. I don't know if they can do a better story for Penguin than what was already done in Gotham. Gotham, for whatever flaws it had, and I acknowledge there were a lot, their villains were fucking good. Jada Pinkett as Fish Mooney, that was an original character, and honestly, she was good. Their Riddler was fucking phenomenal. And of course, Robin Lord Taylor as Penguin. I compare Robin Lord Taylor is as good as Penguin as what not Joaquin Phoenix. Sorry, no, we're not going there. He is as good as Penguin as what Heath Ledger was as the Joker, and I cannot give a higher compliment than that. He's fucking good.
Who played Fish Mooney again?
Jada Pinkett Smith.
You keep Will Smith's wife's name out of your motherfucking mouth.
Oh no, he slapped.
It was there. I had to.
That's fair. But yeah, I although again, now an older Penguin with an older Batman, the story gets better because Batman eventually realizes that he can't stop all crime. You just can't fucking do it. But Penguin, for lack of a better way to put it, he can turn the tap on and off. He can use Penguin to keep it to a slow drip so that he can focus on bigger shit. So that's where Penguin actually has much better story to him. And Colin Farrell's a good actor. He's very capable. But this is coming off of the Matt Reeves, Pattinson Batman. and he had what maybe 20 minutes of screen time. I just don't give a fuck.
So we were sitting here talking about spoilers. Going back to Marvel, we have not seen the last of Channing Tatum as Gambit.
I heard that. They're talking about Channing Tatum. I think maybe Wesley Snipes, but definitely Daphne Keane and Jennifer Garner coming back for their roles as X-23 and Elektra, respectively. And I'm all for that. My only thing is, first off, we are obviously Charlie Cox is coming back as Daredevil. So that means that the Netflix shows are canon.
Yeah, I just don't like the yellow suit.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's fucking corny. Honestly, his yellow suit, and it was yellow and red. It looks like a hobo version of Iron Man.
Yeah,
or it looks like a hobo version of original Iron Man, not the CGI suits y'all are thinking about in the movies. But no, the original suit was just a fucking red breastplate with yellow arms and legs. And that is exactly what Daredevil looks like, but he's a hobo. But their Elektra, Elodie Young, I believe was her name, on Netflix, was fucking great.
I thought she was phenomenal.
I loved her in the role. So as much as I'm not opposed to Jennifer Garner coming back, because let's be honest, it's not that she was a bad actress, it was a bad movie. Nobody on planet Earth could have saved that fucking movie. So I don't have a problem with Jennifer Garner. I just would love to see Elodie Young come back because she was so good. And she plays off, her and Charlie Cox played so well together. That's my only thing.
Honestly, I think, they should create their own storyline and have a multiverse war and basically let all these characters kill each other off till we only have one character of each standing, and just to see, basically, you can sit in the script room, flip of a coin. Okay, so we kill off, this one, and we have this one left over.
Well, and honestly, and I think you said this like a year or something ago, the best way to resolve the multiverse story that Marvel is telling right now, CW already did it. On Crisis on Infinite Earths, they consolidated all their heroes. Supergirl was on a different Earth. Black Lightning was on a different Earth. By the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, everybody is on the same Earth. Honestly, that's the best way to do this right now. And it's also the best way to bring the X-Men in, or mutants in general, to where you don't raise that many questions. Because if X-Men step onto the scene right now, everybody in the Marvel universe, and they'll be right, is going to say, where the fuck have y'all been? And it's a valid criticism.
Now, that Crisis on Infinite Earths, that brought us brought a fanboy thing of mine to life. We got to see Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne.
In the fucking mech suit at that. That was kind of dope.
And that was just a fanboy thing. I really wish they could have got Mark Hamill and had him come in as a Joker somewhere in there as well. But
although Mark Hamill as Trickster was really fucking good.
Well, Mark Hamill as Trickster was really good. That's probably the only thing to save the original Flash television show that was out back in the 90s.
Oh god, yeah. I actually only remember one particular shot from that movie, or from the show, which is when he first got his powers and he's learning to control them. So the actor back then, John Wesley Shipp, for those of y'all who don't remember, he's Barry's dad in the show. He was Barry's dad, and then after they killed off his dad, he was still Jay Garrick, the older dude. So he played Barry Allen back in the 90s. The only scene from that I really remember, his car broke down, and then they just show him turn around, and you see that realization hit him like, I don't need a car. And then he way the fuck overshoots where he's going. He ends up at the beach.
So, yeah. But yeah, the Kevin Conroy was just absolutely nostalgic. It was great. It hit on everything. And but it was great. We consolidated all of the heroes into one single universe. And again, at the end of Crisis of Infinite Earths, if you haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler, there are more Earths that eventually form thereafter.
Yeah. Which allows you to still have future multiverse stories, but it concludes the current multiverse story. And I really do think that, I think you were right when you said it. I think that's the best way to resolve what Marvel is trying to do right now, because it's gotten really messy and they're really all over the place.
Yeah, it's going to take some really good script writing to actually bring all that together cohesively.
Although, you know, the funny thing about the CW's crossover episodes is Ruby Rose was a better Batwoman in the crossovers than in her own fucking show, which tells me that she was not the problem. The writers were, because she was good in the crossovers.
Yeah, I've heard of so many rumors that came out of that set that again, the rumors, but I do know she took an injury filming, which really, stopped her from doing as much as she possibly could. But I think after her replacement and then basically killing off the character,
more or less,
I think the show just took a dive. I mean, if it was something that was like, a passing of the baton, and change like that, kind of like, how they did when, Bane broke Batman's back, and then Nightwing came back, Dick Grayson came back, he took on the mantle of Batman.
Yeah.
And he was going basically insane. So then Batman went to Azael, and and with that, Azael, he was killing people, which is unlike Batman. But my God, was he a good fucking Batman?
Yeah. And honestly, and that's a good example where Dick Grayson actually makes the most sense. And Batman has said out of his own mouth that Dick is probably his only equal, if at all. And again, I doubt they're gonna, but I would really love if they actually kept the dude from Titans. He was a good.
Yes, he
Dick
was.
Grayson.
Yeah.
And like I said, the girl who plays Raven, fucking phenomenal. Like, she was really the only character that I think that they did an absolute perfect job on. Well, I'm probably saying perfect a little liberally here. So, but she was a fucking great cast. She was well acted, well written. Again, we've canvassed this already. Writing on everybody else was a little bit spotty. Starfire, I think, was better than they gave credit for. But as I said, I would love to come. I want to see her a Storm. She would make such a good fucking Storm. I will not get off of that.
She's a great fucking actress.
Yeah, she is. Fuck, I had something else I was gonna bring up and I lost it.
Well, why don't you pull up your feed? Because it's been a while since we've done this. It's time to troll the MAGA.
Oh, actually, you know what? I should have done this the week after the presidential debate, because I'm sure Truth Social was an absolute fucking shit show. Seriously? They logged me out. God damn it.
They found you out.
That would be hilarious if I got fucking banned, and I've literally never posted on here.
Maybe you should get in cryptocurrency.
I could just tell him I did. He'd never fucking know. He has no fucking clue what crypto is or how it works.
Probably think it works the same way as a hurricane.
All right, so let me go ahead and put my do not disturb on. Let me put my screen recorder on. And we'll go ahead and get started here. So it starts at, oh my God, I remember that. He gave himself a fucking Purple Heart.
Yeah, I happened to see that. Well, it's not like he gave it to himself. He was actually given a Purple Heart by a recipient of the Purple Heart, a veteran. I can't remember what forces he served under or in, but he was given a Purple Heart by a veteran, and now he's given him because he was hit in the ear by a piece of monitor.
Hold on, what the fuck?
It's True Social, man.
Okay. No, I had to look this up because it was something. It's a site called or it's an account called Babylon Bee, and I didn't know who the fuck they are. But when you pull it up, it says fake news you can trust. But it said, but so that's
the Onion.
Yeah. Oh God, why is the Onion more fucking believable than reality right now? But no, it said, oh, DOJ indicts JD Vance for brutally beating 3 women. That's why I had to look it up and see. It's a fake story,
Okay.
but that's why I had to look it up. I'm like, wait, what? Like, is it because they didn't teach him enough about eyeliner?
Maybe he should make some friends with the drag queen so they can teach him how to put that shit on properly.
Although, one thing, kind of unrelated, but while we're talking about it, I find it really weird that, and I this is actually not an attack on either of them for once. I find it really weird. Like, if you think about it, hopefully they don't win, but if they do win, he's going to be the first person in that fucking building with facial hair since like Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, Jesus.
It's really fucking weird how like everybody has to be clean shaven. I don't understand that.
Well, it's not even a good beard. It's a little patchy.
What was funny? So if you look back at the clips with the VP debate, there's a couple of times they look at each other quite a bit during the debate, but then there's times where JD Vance just kind of looks off, and I think he thinks he's looking at a camera, but he's not looking at the camera that's on him. So it looks like he's just looking off. Mind you, there's no audience. So to me, on watching on TV, like, what the fuck are you looking at?
He's probably looking to see if he's allowed to say something.
Okay, this is cult shit. So Butler, Pennsylvania crowd breaks out singing national anthem after Trump stops rally. Oh wait, this sounds old because it mentioned someone having a medical emergency. But still, they started singing national anthem at his rally.
If you're at a mega rally, you do have a medical emergency.
That's fair, but that's so fucking weird. I don't care about that story. Okay, that's just talking about Harvest. And why the fuck? It's just some story showing some guy just playing a fucking guitar. That's weird.
It's probably writing one of those AI country songs.
Oh wait, no, this is an ad. I don't want to look at a fucking ad. Why is Elon Musk in oh my god, he went to the fucking rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I saw and listened to about 3 seconds of that clip. Was like, okay, I'm done.
He is such a fucking twat, and I don't usually block people, but I'm really close to blocking him just because I'm tired of him pushing himself on his fucking platform. It is annoying. Yeah, I stopped recording, but yeah, I just can't fucking deal with him. Like, all of his takes are bad. All of them. How are they all fucking bad? They're stupid.
Well, this is where the hurricane comes water, and it's wet. It's one of the wettest hurricanes.
Oh, no. Did you see this one a while back? He said, he was reminding his supporters that spirit is a word. Like, that was the whole fucking sentence.
Did you legal get? Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's one thing. When he's gone, I think I've said this before. The guy who does him on SNL, James Austin Johnson, I believe is his name. I could have that wrong, and if I do, we'll put it below here. He does such a good Trump on SNL. Like, and it's not just the voice. He does the cadence, the rambling. It's so fucking perfect. When Trump is finally gone, I am going to miss his impression of Trump because it's so goddamn good.
Well, I'm here in heaven. They didn't have the big pearly gates. They knew I was coming, and they rolled out the red carpet, but there was some lint on it.
And then there was a gay guy at the pearly gates. He said I couldn't come in. That's so unfair.
So I have a concept of heaven.
Oh God, he should never get to live that down. Because what the fuck?
No, and honestly, however long he has left, he's not going to live it down because it was just a bonehead fucking response. It's like all you had to do was come out and say, "We're working on it."
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing is that I really, really want to know for the MAGA crowd, who are you going to cling to when he dies? Because you only got about 3, 4, maybe 4 more years, and that's if he doesn't win. And I say that because if you look at the way that it aged Bush and Obama, those 4 years in office or 8 years in their case is taxing. That man is already fucking 78 years old. In fact, when y'all kept saying that Biden is too old, I want you to remember Trump today, right now, is older than Biden was in the 2020 election. If Biden was too old then he's too old now.
Absolutely.
He ain't got that much left in the tank.
All right, we'd like to thank you for joining us. That brings a conclusion to this episode of Men Behind the Curtain. Check us out on our socials. They're posted below. You can email us at menbehindcurtain.com at gmail.com. I don't know why I do that every fucking time. If we need to, we'll put it in our personals. So if you want to send us anything you want to recommend or just tell us off, whatever, we're going to use it as fodder.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, we're giving you everything you need to contact us every way you need to know how. So,
yep. And I honestly want you to. If I've pissed you off in any way, I hope you reach out. I genuinely do.
I hope you do too, because there's stuff we can use. Anyway, again, thank you for watching Men Behind the Curtain. We'll see you next Friday at noon.
Y'all have a good one.